Welcome to Waxing the Porpoise, the podcast that dives deep into the unexplored depths of cinema and occasionally the unexplained. This week, G-Baby and the usual suspect Steve raise the flag and welcome back not only returning champion Ruth's Chris from the Mount Molehill podcast, but also friend of the show Miles to rap about a flick they had both recommended. Can't recall who did first. Riki-Oh, the story of Riki from 1991, a bloody kung fu exploitation romp covered in viscera. Join us as we dive in, fist first, to discuss eyeballs popping, head slicing, and literal gut-busting practical effects that take no prisoners. The difference between flautas and flautists, the underseen horror anthology gem, the Willies, the fact there are zero repercussions for getting hit in your dead spot, and how Mortal Kombat may or may not have taken a big heaping tablespoon of inspiration. The porpoises, midnight companions and keen observers, stand up to defend the weak, fighting back against the Gang of Four, corrupt privatized prison officials, and Heihachi on a bad batch of steroids.
Call me Joe. Yeah, call me Donnie. Come on.
Let's wax the spinning back heel porpoise.
Chase, don't do that.
See, we working on his brow chakra. We're just in back in the crown chakra.
All right, welcome to Waxing the Porpoise, the podcast where we dive deep into the dark and uncharted waters of film, high strangeness, and everything in between. This evening, we cordially invite you to join us on this episode 92, where we are discussing Riki-Oh, the story of Riki from 1991. Much to Steve's chagrin, perhaps, we shall see. Before we do, introductions are in order. I will be your host, resident cloaca admirer, and We Bought a Zoo proselytizer, Jim G. Baby.
Stupid.
I am an FBI agent! I know, man. Isn't it wild?
And, of course, joining us on this cinematic odyssey is our co-host and man whose temperament and worldly philosophy I think closest resembles the character Roy from the television show Wings, the usual suspect Steve.
I remember when you bought me this antique silver frame from Tiffany's. Tiffany's.
Sales 50 marked down from 10.
How's it going, man?
All I said is that I hope this wasn't another Versus fiasco.
Yeah, after watching it myself, I was like, I don't know. It's going to be a close one to call, so we shall see. So this episode, also we have two special guests, what some might call a two-hander. First up, we have our returning champion, the Midnight Maven of the Macabre, Chris of Chris Channel 83 and Mount Molehill fame. Raise the fucking flag.
Where I come from, you don't blow no harp. You don't get no pussy.
Blues man shit.
Yes. How's it going, Chris?
Joe Seneca. Good.
Good to have you back, man.
Glad to be back.
Sweet. And we are blessed to welcome back Miles of He's Pulling an Absolute Wagon and will choke you out within 10 seconds whilst dressed as Michael Myers in Mutual Combat fame.
You really are the most devious bastard in New York City.
How's it going, man?
What's up? Oh, it's going good. Glad to be back. Thanks for having me on again.
Yeah, hell yeah. Appreciate you guys taking the time.
Yeah. I will also say that although I may have appeared on the show more, Miles is clearly the favorite because I suggested this movie to you over a year ago.
Oh, shit.
And it fell on deaf ears. So
It didn't.
Miles slides in and suddenly it's like, hey, let's talk about Riki-Oh.
I've double checked my
Just got
journal
that
and
pull.
it was over 1 year ago, James.
Oh, it was right after Phantasm 2.
Man,
Wow.
I bet you have a ledger of some kind that's like super autobiographical.
I prefer to call it an enemies list.
It's the Billy Madison, Steve Buscemi people to kill list.
Bumping some fucking ELO on the couch.
Boy, am I glad I called that guy.
It's my silver tongue in Jim's ear. Just
Apparently so.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, I did put a pin in it. I put it on the board, and we just didn't get around to it
until someone whose opinion you respected more suggested it.
Tomato.
What
No,
disrespectful
honestly,
attack.
I put it out there and kind of on the back burner, and I did forget about it. And it came up, I think, in maybe our Slack channel that we're both in.
People don't forget.
And then I was like, oh, shit. And then, because I didn't know before that this director had the linkage was the cat. Because I knew how big of a fan of the cat you were, Chris. And then Miles was like, oh, yeah, the cat's dope. That fucking image of the cat like soaring through the airs, like the GIF, that's all I know of it, is like burned into my brain. But I was like, yeah, two of those minds coming up with me and Steve being pretty neophyte in this type of exploitation cinema would be cool. So there you have it.
Just say you're sorry.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So this movie is from 1991. I had never heard of it until recently. And this is a first time watch. Steve goes without saying.
Sure.
Miles, you want to start us off? What's your history with this film or this genre director, whatever?
So this is only my second time. I only saw it for the first time within the last year. I'd always known of it, but it's kind of hard to find. I mean, it's not really streaming anywhere, where it wasn't streaming anywhere legally for a long time, and I'm pretty sure all the copies of DVDs are out of print. There's a Blu-ray they have out, but it's region B, so not local.
Steve, we learned about that a couple episodes ago. Now you know what that means. Like before, you just hear region B and it'd float on by.
Yeah. Yeah, and just as a quick little aside, when I was looking for bad reviews on Amazon, because that is just fertile ground for idiotic people, couldn't really find a lot of bad reviews. It was just like, didn't work, can't figure it out, sent it back, didn't work, love the movie, DVD didn't work, 1 star.
My fingers hurt. Fun story about Region B. Steve, you're not the only one who didn't know about Region B. I had a girlfriend at the time who got me a Blu-ray set for Christmas, and she was super excited to give it to me. And I got it, and I looked at it, I was like, "Oh fuck!" I was like, "This is Region B." I didn't say anything. You bitch. I didn't say anything. I still have it. Didn't tell her for like a year later. She's like, "You didn't watch that movie yet, did you?" I'm like, "Yeah, actually about that."
Well, if you would have, it would have been your fault somehow.
Yeah.
You didn't tell me you didn't have a region-free player.
Right.
So, fuck you. Yeah, I have a couple things. Like I have a Frighteners fucking box set from Germany from like, I think it's Turbine is the label or boutique that put it out. And I saw it was Impulse, like, gotta do it. And I haven't watched it still. I've had it for like almost 2 years probably. I just can't seem to fucking bite that region-free player bullet.
They're so expensive. I've been wanting to get one, but yeah, they're pretty pricey.
Yeah. That is fair.
Just a pro tip, pretty much 99% of Blu-ray drives in computers are region free. So if you have a Plex server, it's probably more cost effective to just rip it onto a computer.
Dude, I can't remember the last time I had like a tower like style, like desktop computer. But that might be the move.
I don't mean anything with a disk drive.
Laptops are fucking expensive now for like nice ones, so all right. That's cool, though. I didn't know that. What about you, Chris? What's
I think I
with Riki
mentioned this to you. Might have been off air, but like in the Craig Kilborn days of what's that fucking show? The Daily Show.
The Daily Show. The OG Daily Show.
There was like some little packaging thing, like in between segments, that played the scene of the big guy from the Gang of Four where he claps that dude's head.
Yeah.
And I saw that I mean, this was like what, probably like late 90s when he was the Daily
96,
Show.
97. I think he started in 96 that ran until 2003. So yeah, right in there. It was precursor to the 5 questions. That
8 or 9 years old. And I was just like, I would see that and I would wonder what it was. And then, finding out on the early internet and seeking this movie out. And actually this time that I watched it is the first time that I've seen it in HD, because on my Plex server was still like some old 480p rip from like years ago.
So did you watch it on the Criterion channel that it's streaming on right now, or?
Fuck no, but I did see it was streaming there and I thought that was hilarious.
It is a weird movie for to be streaming on the Criterion channel.
Yeah. You think they're like the Criterion's like they're these like high-minded specifically curated films. It looks like they were just doing this for the Riz, for the clout factor.
Did it for the streets.
Yeah. All right. I guess just as a top level, getting into this movie, it features a fellow named Riki-Oh, which we'll get into. The story of Riki. He's a young man who has superhuman strength. He's incarcerated in a private prison where inmates are treated like slaves and forced to use his unstoppable form of martial arts to destroy the corrupt officials and their lackeys. So that's the top line. I like the intros too, like the fortune star. For some reason, that just like jumped out as like early 90s cheese, like title graphics coming in. So we follow like a police bus, a paddy wagon escorts some prisoners into this remote prison out in the countryside.
You forgot to ask Steve if he's seen this before.
I glossed him over. I said it goes without saying. Or did you remember, I guess, from last time when we talked about this was from that interstitial from the Kilborn show? Like the 5 questions, like that was like they played a couple frames of the dude's head getting squashed.
No, I did not remember that.
That's funny that's what started your journey, Chris, to find out where this movie came from, was that little snippet.
I'm sicko now. That show ruined me.
And then we get so we're at this prison and we get a little intro. It says, by 2001 AD, capitalistic countries have privatized all government organizations. Prisons, like car parks, have become franchised business.
This is like my favorite part, is that this is like the most ridiculous movie ever, but the little title crawl is just like reality. Like it's something that I mean, surely there were already private prisons in America in 1992.
That stuck out to me as well. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know the history of prisons, and I guess it's a Hong Kong film, but I was like, private prisons. I was like, isn't that just normal? Like it's pretty stock and standard for United States.
Yeah. Do you happen to know, Steve, when that kind of transfer happened from state control to privatization offhand?
I think it first started happening just after the Civil War, when there were like Southern plantation owners who were like, we really liked having free labor. So what if instead of putting them in jail, we just like used them for free labor? So I think that's where it started. And I've gone down the rabbit hole in the past of like, how the fuck does this work? Like what was the genesis of this? How was the government able to get away with it? And yeah, it's a deep rabbit hole. But yeah, I kind of thought the same thing, because when that thing flashed up, I was like, oh, is this going to be like a scathing indictment of like the is this going to be like a really heady movie, or just a fucking gore fest from beginning to end? So yeah, I also thought that was kind of a funny juxtaposition.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, first off, do you guys have any background on why they call him? I listened to the English dub, so maybe it's just that, but they call him Riki-Oh.
I think it's
H-O and not O, or am I just catching that?
Just at this time, like, localization was very bad for anything, so it's probably just one of them is probably correct, but they couldn't keep it straight which one was right with all the translation and localization.
All right. So it's a short story.
you also have, because I mean it's based on a Japanese property, so you go Japanese, Cantonese, and then English. So I don't know which, how it turns from O to Ho, but
fair enough. That just jumped out at me. I was like, oh, okay, right out of the gate, it's Riki-Oh. Just flip them.
Jim, what was that quote you used to just incessantly say where you're like, call me Danny, call me Ricky? That's all I was thinking about it the entire time. And I'm probably getting that wrong.
That's what it is. It's from Mallrats. Kind of towards the end when Ben Affleck, it comes out that he's like a fucking pervert. And like one of his tapes, like that he's incognito, that he's recorded of him fucking. And I can't remember his name in the show, but it's not Danny or Ricky, but his thing that fucking that really fucking got him was like, call me different names. Kind of like the precursor to that American Psycho when he's like looking at himself and flexing. He's like, call me Ricky. He's like pumping. He's like, call me Danny. For some reason, that just always, it's like, why is that the thing that fucking gets you off, is being called someone else's name? That was a fun side quest.
Yeah, I have a theory about why his name is different, because as Miles said, it started off as it's based off of a manga, and the original title is Riki-Oh. I have like two ideas about this. So one would be Ho is a Chinese surname, so maybe they just swapped that to like, hey, this is our main character is Chinese now. The other is that they use the same characters to write it in Chinese and Japanese, so it's possible that they're just pronounced slightly differently from one language to the other. Those are my two theories about it.
I'll just add an apostrophe.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, it could just be an inflection deal too. So we get the dope on him. He's got 10 years for manslaughter and assault, and then a funny little gag that shows that gives us a peek into his lore is he keeps tripping the metal detector going through the prison, and then they finally put him up to this weird fucking. They just have this ATM X-ray machine, like in case the metal detector fails, and he's got.
That's how you know it's the future.
Yeah, that part kind of felt very like Escape from New York, LA styled. Kind of reminded me of that. But yeah, he's got 5 bullets embedded in his chest, and he's just wearing it like a sweater. And it does come back a little bit later, but I thought they would have done something cooler with that, You
would think he would just like flex really hard and shoot bullets out of his chest.
Yeah, that could, dude, I didn't even think about that. That could be fucking rad. I was thinking like more like Looney Tunes, like he would like pluck one out and like thumb it in the air and swallow it and kind of swish it around and shoot it out the speed of a gun out of his mouth later at the end. Would have been fucking pretty rad, but yeah, he's just got, I guess they do later on when they show him, he's like in a lot of pain when he's in the cell, and he's just like, oh, fuck. At least that's what I thought it was. Like every so often, like Blade, he's got to fucking take some of the serum. He's got to fucking take the bullets in his chest. He's just got to wear that pain like every 36 hours.
Yeah, I was wondering about that too. They didn't go back to that. He never had that. Yeah, it was completely, Yeah,
I just took it as like, this is like a new cross to bear by virtue of living through the bullet catch in the chest.
His degree of superhumanness is whatever they need it to be in a particular scene. Because as you find out at the end, like he could have just left prison immediately.
Yeah, the first time I saw this, like 20 minutes went through the movie, I'm like, could he not just punch a hole through the wall and leave? And then at the end, I was like, oh, well, there it is.
And make a like 80 times larger than the hole his fist made initially. When they're walking through it, it's like this. It's like an elephant could walk through it.
This does have one of my favorite tropes of all time that we've talked about is when he's first training and he's like learning this thing from scratch, and then they just fast forward like later that evening, and now he's an expert in rock exploding fist technique. I love that. I love that.
I love the cut to where they just show his uncle like surrounded by all these tombstones that he set up.
Yeah, that is awesome. Just like the 48-hour sober up.
Yeah. We've got a tight 90 minutes. We can only afford a 30-second transition from what is this new martial art to I'm going to punch a hole in the side of a tombstone.
Yeah, he goes to fucking Dagobah and learns about the Force with the.
And were these
Sifu.
extra tombstones, or were these actual? Did he actually take these from graves? Is he just like busting me someone's grandma's gravestone?
Yeah,
desecrating
there's
an
like
entire cemetery.
Yeah, for like they kind of go into that kind of supernatural waters. It's like what's the karmic effect of all these people that you just desecrated?
It's not good.
One of my favorite lines here too is after they see, oh, they're bullets, and he's going through it, and he's like, why didn't you just let the doctor remove them? And he's all, souvenirs. I was like, fuck yeah. This is where we're going. That didn't do it for you, Steve?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of what I was expecting. Like, I didn't mind the kind of like cheese ball factor. They are who we thought they were, you know. It's kind of just what I was expecting.
Dude, you need to remind me of that. I need to get that bump fucking stat.
If you want to crown them, crown their ass.
Crown their ass. Fuck. What's his name? Dennis Green?
Something like that.
Dick Dog would know. Damn it. Okay, so then we get a kind of a understanding of the prison and like how it's controlled, the day to day sort of. It's split in north, south, east, and west. There's a gang of 4, so there's like they refer to it as a captain in this, right? Or am I? Like each head of the wings, it was like
captain or leader. Yeah, I watched the sub, so I'm not sure what they call it in the dub.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw a little bit of discrepancy between like the description I was reading versus what I heard in the dub version. Yeah. Like even with names and stuff too. Yeah. So I don't know what the fuck is going on.
Yeah, like the big dude at the end who fucking like pushes the hydraulic press up in the dub that I heard, his name was Tarzan.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they said it like 20 times before I realized that was his name. I could not tell what they were saying. And I didn't have subtitles on, so it's like I didn't know what his name was until that scene specifically.
Yeah, there's a lot of people I didn't like. The guy that's named Oscar, like our first underboss with the fucking sick back tattoo.
Uh-huh.
I thought his name, like looking online, they show like the foreign names. So his name was like Hai, I think.
And there was another guy whose name sounded like Rogan.
But it is Rogan.
But when I looked it up, it was like Joan Pao. Like, this is very confusing.
Yeah. And I think what I looked at too, they just referred to that person. I think that's the girl. The female one was Rogan.
It's a guy.
Was that the dude with the bleach blonde?
Yeah.
Tarantula legs?
I don't remember what his name was.
So to my understanding, it's supposed to be a guy, but it's played by a woman.
Yeah, it's just androgynous guy.
Gotcha. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So there's confusion on the naming conventions and between the different dub, sub, whatever. So right off the bat, also we get this poor old man getting fucking bullied, and you'll see this as a theme. Like Ricky steps in, like he's got this. I don't think they really explain it, but he's like he wants to fight for the weak. He says that to his uncle. Is that his uncle who trains him?
Yeah.
And so you'll see that he's fighting for like the common man or like people that are getting picked on or fucked over in this prison. And this old man, he's like working on this little wooden train for his son or daughter. And this asshole fucking like breaks it across his face. Some of the practical effects in this were pretty cool. Like kind of reminded me of like Total Recall again, kind of like the practical, like the gruesomeness, like how deep they went on like this guy's the mouth and nose, how it kind of like peels up. And so Ricky automatically steps in and fucking beats this bully back. And did you guys notice where this piece of wood with nails came from.
No, yeah.
No reason for it to be in the shower / bathroom.
What was the tool that he cut his face with? Was that like
There's a planer.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I knew it looked familiar, but I couldn't place it like a carpet ripper or something. But
was the block of wood from the train?
I don't think so.
No, just a random piece of wood with nails sticking out of it.
Yeah, because the way the nails were arranged, it was like there was like 7 nails all clumped up in the northeast corner of this block of wood. Like,
as we all have in our showers.
Yeah. I do love when the old man is then later surprised when that guy like fucks him out of getting parole. It's like, well, yeah, you kind of ran at him and tried to fuck his face up, and you know he then got you, and then he got back pretty bad. So this really shouldn't come as a surprise to you, sir.
Yeah.
I also love in the next scene where the guy who gets the nail to his eye, like his little friend, offers him a mug of milk.
Yeah.
Bitch, I just got fucking blinded by a nail. I don't want a cup of milk.
He needs some milk.
You want me to drag him out of here? Kick the shit out of him?
So I like right away how we get into the gory, the graphic nature, and the fact that like Riki-Oh's just a badass motherfucker right out of the gate. They don't waste time with that at all.
Yeah, when he goes down on the 2x4 full of nails, which came from nowhere, and it's so clearly like clay or whatever, and it's just squirting blood. That's like a very nice little appetizer to what is to come for the rest of the movie, and I found it very enjoyable. I'm like, okay, it's gonna be gory as shit.
Yeah, they definitely let you know what you're getting into, like right off the bat. Like, it's like, oh, this is gonna be like this. Okay.
Yeah, where the fuck did that trick board full of nails come from? I also too like some of the exclamations in this, like just really like made me laugh. Like when the old man, when he like turns after he breaks the toy, he's all, Samuel, you bastard!
Yeah,
and he runs at him. Even funnier that his name was Samuel. I don't know.
Very common in martial arts dubs from this time, where they're like cursing, but not really in ways that people use it in English. Like, yeah, we say bastard and asshole, but not nearly as often as they say it in this movie.
I mean, it emphasizes the point too, again, with Ricky, like he sees the old man come out, he's being pulled on like a stretcher and he's dead, and his hands are still cuffed, and he's like bringing his hands, he's like, he's already dead, take off the cuffs. And I thought it was funny too, he pulled out, he reclaimed the little wooden train, and he had it like in his shirt, and he just pulled it out in the rain, and he's just like, why? And I was just like, you barely met this dude. Like, he's just really, he's all in on trying to help others, like defend the weak and all that. They really drive that home early too, I felt like. And then right away too, we get the shower scene, which was pretty awesome. What'd you guys think of this scene? The fat bastard.
Good shit.
The second shower scene, yeah. I like this about this movie. So whenever you see something where somebody has super strength, like it's Superman or, you know, basically any superhero, and they like punch somebody, you're like, if they were that strong, they would blow right through that guy, right? And so I like that this is like, yeah, no, they would. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they'd punch right through their fucking face.
Wouldn't he just punch right through his tummy and completely eviscerate him? Yeah, I think so.
Well, maybe he was just, I'm just going to go 35% on you, and just like, I'll embed 1/3 the way through your stomach.
Right.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Did appreciate that. So if anybody who hasn't seen this but is like a fan of like martial arts movies is going in like expecting like some intricate choreography, or like this is not that, like the fight scene in this movie are very basic, like 1 or 2 punches and kicks.
Yeah,
you know, it's not like some other stuff you see coming out of Hong Kong in this time, but they dial up the gore to 11. Like, it is very much gore front and center.
Yeah, it's like the ratio of like kidney punches and like quick uppercuts is like, although Did you notice? I thought was like the baddest move was against a headstone when he does that fucking crazy backflip back salt kick and fucking just nails the headstone midair. I was like, that was fucking dope. It was like a bicycle kick. Sorry, Steve, you're gonna say something.
Well, one thing I was gonna skip ahead to real quick now that you mentioned it was the little kick move he does with the serving platter to block the bullet from the ward. That was pretty sick.
Mm-hmm. That was awesome.
But coming back to where we are chronologically, after he punches the guy's stomach to death, is that when the guy comes out and tries to stab him with the nail and he just catches it with his hand?
Yeah.
So that reminded me, I used to have this friend of mine who liked to fight, and he was not a very smart guy, but he had a very thick head, and his move would be like if somebody was swinging to like punch his face, he would try to catch the fist with like the top of his head to like break their hand. Like he would lean into it and just like wear it like a water buffalo and then follow up and beat the shit out of the person. But yeah, that reminded me of that. Like, I'm just going to catch it with my hand and then remove it.
That's funny, but from my understanding, that was a legitimate tactic people used back in bare knuckle boxing days, like before they started wearing gloves. Yeah. Block with the forehead didn't break their hands. Yeah, that's really funny.
It seemed rather effective, and because he would try to close the distance too, which would take some of the power away, right? But it just looked funny because someone would like go to throw a haymaker, and he would just like put his head right up to it.
A man born out of time. Born in the wrong era.
Yeah, isn't that? I always heard that like that kind of like top third of your head is like the hardest point on your body.
On my head?
Yeah. What are they going to drop you on? Somebody else's head?
Not your fucking dada. I should have had that one queued up. Oh yeah, fat bastard, guts, hamburger helper.
Turns that guy's hand into silly putty.
Dude, yeah, that was a cool effect. I was looking at that and I was like, that looked pretty real to me, unless I was like more stoned than I thought when I watched this. But like compared to like some of the other like really like wild cheesy looking stuff, I thought the fingers like that looked pretty good to me. And like the nail out of the hand. Dude, I was looking at that. I was like, is that a screw or is that like a fucking railroad spike? It just looked like a really thick ass fucking nail. Just like the biggest gauge nail you can buy.
Yeah, this director, the 3 movies of his I've seen, they're all very special effects heavy. And sometimes they look good, and sometimes they look like complete shit. But he goes for it every time.
Yeah, I actually like the second torso punch a little bit better of this dude. What the fuck's his name? Samuel. After he wears the nail, then he follows it up with just another fucking body blow, and I liked how it kind of zoomed in, kind of ducked down and did a little slow-mo hole in the side of the stomach. I thought that looked pretty cool. So then immediately after that, we meet Oscar, another underboss. I don't know what, North Wing captain.
Yeah, he's the North guy.
And again, yeah, he's got the sick fucking back tattoo, and he's just kind of like comes in like, oh, I heard about you, and like puts on his fucking robe and just kind of planting the seed for them to clash later. And then, yeah, this is where we get he's paying his penance. The bullets to the chest, his meditate. What is it called? I'm gonna mispronounce it. The Qigong is his
Qigong. Yeah, I guess it's a martial art.
His life force, the source of his immeasurable strength and power. So he's channeling that to pay for his karmic transgressions via the bullets. That's when we go to Dagobah, right? He goes into it's like a flashback to see how he got his shit.
Oh yeah, from his afternoon training course.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nice.
Well, he's always had supernatural strength. He just didn't know how to fight before this.
He didn't know how to channel it.
It's like, why would you need to know how to fight if you can just kill someone with one punch?
Just come up and put your finger on him. Yeah, I love this whole training montage. He learns, like I said, it's like basically the Force, and the last headstone, he punches both arms through.
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty fucking ridiculous.
And then him and his uncle chest bump tombstones.
So then now we get to see this name might be different for you, Miles, but the assistant warden we get introduced to, aka I think they call him Cyclops, but in the credits that I saw it was Cyclops Dan, which I just thought was a fucking funny name. If you look up on IMDb, it's fucking
Magic Eyes.
Yeah. Cyclops Dan, ice cream. You got new legs. Dude, get Gary Sinise in here. So, and this guy's got a hook for a hand. It's like one of those two prongers that can articulate like left and right so you can pick shit up. This is kind of a deep pull. Chris, you might be with me on this one. This reminded me automatically of, I thought of the end of that segment or vignette, as it were, of the Willies, where Donkey Lips gets all of his fucking appendages cut off, and then he has a hook just like this.
I remember the segment. I don't remember that happening because that part of the movie is so fucking boring that I was like drifting out of consciousness the last time I saw it.
Have you ever seen the Willies, Miles?
I have not. No.
It's a kind of a kooky little.
It's pretty
horror.
good. I think
have you
like
seen it?
Fuck
no, I know you're fucking.
Of course
I know. I already knew that. I was holding out a sliver of hope because Sean Astin does make he does have a cameo in the wraparound, which is kind of fun. Him of all people is in it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of people like within a narrow age range that would have seen it because it hasn't endured at all. Like no one's going back and watching it because it's kind of a piece of shit.
Yeah, it does kind of suck, and it's pretty lowbrow. But there is one.
The janitor one's good.
Yeah, that's my favorite segment, and I like the wraparound too. The reveal at the end.
And the one I saw most recently had cut out the poodle in the microwave.
Yeah,
which I remember being like fucking terrifying because I was like 4 or 5 watching it.
Dude, yeah, seeing them, they're all and they got like fried chicken skin on them. Dude, it's fucking that's gnarly. Yeah, Willies. I think it's 1990. That was a old time like video store pick that the front of the VHS cover sold me immediately. But yeah, it's a fun anthology. It does kind of suck, but it's a horror anthology from the early 90s. I'm a big anthology fan, so I think I saw it. It was on.
I don't think I've
it was on Tubi for a time. I don't know if it still is, but it was on Tubi. I think last Halloween,
probably.
But yeah, pretty low stakes. Any hoodles. So yeah, we got Cyclops Dan. He is kind of like the warden's away. He's kind of running the show.
Yeah. So I feel like we should describe him for people who haven't seen the movie. So he has a fake eye, hence the name Cyclops Dan. His fake eye is it's like red and yellow, like you would see like a vampire in like a horror movie. So that's his fake eye. He takes his fake eye out, and inside of it are mints, like breath mints that he offers to people.
And his office is wall-to-wall porn.
Yes, behind him is a rather extensive collection of VHS porn, it looks like, so, which is never addressed. But
no, that part. And what's the North Korean dictator's name? Kim Jong. That's who I got vibes of right away. He's pretty corpulent, and he has a fucking wild. Yeah, I went there. He has a pretty wild ass flat top, like in the same in that same vein. Yeah, he's just a dirty dog all the way through. That wall of porn, it reminded me of Danny Gloves in Switchback. He's got the inside of his car is like all porn, like the upholstery is like pornography. Even the seatbelt, there's like wallet size like photos of naked chicks. I don't know why it made me think of that immediately, but
other than that, though, there's nothing in his office. Like the walls are completely like stark beige.
Yeah, and he's like he's tucked way back in the corner. Yeah, and it's everything else is sparse. But he emphasizing what a fat bastard he is. He's eating the bloodiest steak that's ever been created. It's like Jalo blood coming out of the fucking
that shit was disgusting.
Steak. That thing was blue. That's what you order. You order like it goes, rare, medium. If you order it blue, it's like still mooing, basically, which is what this looked like. And then one of my favorite parts of this too, we get this. After this meeting of Cyclops Dan, we get this fucking out of nowhere flashback for Ricky and his girlfriend in this idyllic country field, flying as you do remote control airplanes. I wasn't expecting this. They kind of like didn't take me out, but I was like, this feels odd right here.
Yeah, I was like, wait, are we trying to make this sweet for a moment? Like, what are we doing?
Although seeing like, like I feel like certain animes do that. Like they'll cut in like
definitely
super heavy or like tense or like bloody type shit's going on. They'll do these weird cuts and it'll have this like somber music. Be like, remember when we were back in Huicho and we were thinking about our future? And it's like this weird downshift. But anyway,
I think definitely also like that scene and the one where he's training with his uncle, he's supposed to be a lot younger, but it's still played by the same 30-something-year-old actor.
And he's still shredded up like crazy, like super muscular. And we also learned he was once an aspiring flautist.
Flautist.
Is that what they call? Is it?
Yeah.
No way. I always thought people, when they said that, they were mispronouncing it.
You couldn't possibly be wrong.
I was like, I know what a damn flauta is, and that ain't it.
You're going to get so many angry emails next week from flautas.
It's a flute, isn't it?
Did somebody order a bitch?
Dude, I can't wait for the outraged flautist deluge. Oh, that's good. I like it. Another, oh shit, I forgot to cue it up. I got to cue it up right now. This is another of my favorite parts of this film that's coming up right now.
Can I guess?
Guess.
When he gets his arm cut open and sews his like
tendons back
veins together. And tendons and arteries and all that shit back together.
I do like that. I would say to your credit, I would say that's a very close second, actually.
Right.
Yeah, I think I know what it is, but I don't want to step on it. So, in case I'm right.
Okay, so where the fuck are we?
Yeah, he heals from any damage he takes. Scene to scene is instantly healed in the next scene.
Yeah, it's like in Predator 2, like when he loses something, he puts that fucking jelly on. And so my favorite part is then we get this introduction of, it's Alan, our next charity case for Riki-Oh to save.
Mm-hmm. Alan's the little guy.
So he's confronted by another rival wing, a captain and his crew, and they have this weird ass like double-edged fucking serrated hacksaw sword. But the lackeys say to this guy, it just fucking kills me.
Right, listen up, you asshole. First, eat shit. And then lick our shoes clean, you got that? And then I cut you up and give you pieces to the dog.
Yeah.
Was that it?
Fuck yeah. The first, eat shit.
Yeah. First of all, eat shit. Yeah, like, dude, that just fucking took me out. I was like, yes. I love that. Yeah. So it just kind of introduced our next person that Ricky's gonna like save or like, champion. while he's working his way through this prison.
Well, the guy they were attacking in that scene was the bald guy. I don't remember his name. They just kept calling him a Fink, but I don't remember what his actual name was. Because Alan was like the godson of Oscar.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I have it backwards. Yeah, so he was like the underboss, and then Oscar comes in and is like, what's going on here? And Alan kind of bows up to him, and that's when he gets the fucking sword saw jammed halfway into his face, right?
I think that's a little bit after. Or, no.
Yeah, I
know I'm breezing
together.
Through a couple things here.
There's a couple, That middle part kind of blurs together for me.
The best part is that after they have like this huge that saw, then the warden's like, here, take this knife.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, clearly it's not hard to get weapons into this prison, and the one I was just using is way bigger than this hunting knife.
Yeah. That one definitely had the reach advantage for sure. It was a sick knife though that he gave him. Yeah, I didn't get the whole mints from the eyeball. I thought he was a drug addict, like as we learned later on, and that he was just like he was getting high on his own supply. Like I thought it was like opium or something later, but
no, they say mints, but they look like those silver balls, like draguets that people used to put on cupcakes and shit.
Oh yeah. Like similar to like gold flake, gold leaf shit that's edible you put on stuff. Took her to silver ball.
And I don't know if we're past this part, but the fight in the kind of the yard where they have the guy on the cross.
Yes.
He
fuck yeah.
He blows. It's not sand. It's powdered glass in his eyes.
Oh, okay, I was wondering what is that to make him. That's awesome.
It's powdered glass, and so he's crying blood after that, and the solution is he breaks it's like a water main or like something, and water shoots out of it, and he washes the glass out of his eyes, and totally fine. He's ready to go.
Yeah, it was almost like some kind of life spring. Like it rejuvenated him like so much, like because he was in a pretty bad way there for a second.
Yeah, and because this is based on a manga, I don't know how. Did anybody look up anything about the manga?
I didn't. I clicked on that link that you sent me for Reddit that has like that huge broad overview of like the whole thing, and I kind of skimmed through and picked through some of the paragraphs, and it seemed wild.
Yeah,
like real wild.
So I haven't read the manga before, but they did have 2 anime OVAs, and OVAs are direct to video, kind of not quite feature length, but not like a TV series. They were like straight to video anime videos that were popular in like the 90s and stuff. But they made 2 OVAs based on the manga that came out a little bit before this movie. And those are on YouTube. I caught part of the first one, and it's almost 1-to-1 for this movie. Like it's extremely like faithful to it. Like awesome. all the weird shit I thought might have been added for this movie, I was like, oh no, it's all there. Glass in the eye, him tying his tendons together, like, and the backstory, because I mean the manga is like 12 volumes long, so it goes for a while. And like I was reading like some of the plot summary of it, and like the backstory is fucking insane. Like the reason he's super strong is because I think I'm gonna be fucking some of this up because it's very convoluted. Even just reading the plot summary, I think he is the grandson of Hitler.
Yes.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
He is the grandson of Hitler, and there's a god from the future who impregnated his mom, and then he has I think that, from what I understand, he has the Star of David on his hand in the manga, and his brother has a swastika on his hand.
His brother, who's named Nazi.
Nazi. And if they touch or something, it'll like destroy the world.
Yeah.
Holy shit! It's like crossing the fucking streams.
Yeah. But apparently that's where he gets his power from. But yeah, it was bonkers shit. Like I think this movie is I think is early on in the series, but it gets crazier apparently.
Yeah, like the first OVA, like you said, is pretty much this, but in chronological order. Like they don't do a bunch of flashbacks. The second OVA actually takes place before this and is about him like fighting his brother Nazi.
Yeah, I got to watch that one. I didn't get to that one. But yeah, that first one, yeah, it was pretty 1-to-1 for this one. I was like, oh yeah, this is it's all there, and they got the right director for it too, because this director's other movies are equally as crazy. So I was like, they definitely got the right guy for it.
What's crazy about the anime is that it's less of a cartoon than this live action movie is.
It is like, yeah, it did seem a little
more
bit more
serious.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, that link that you sent me that kind of cruised through, it was pretty beefy, but I picked out, I noticed like different timelines, the tattoos and the source of the strength, and yeah, that's fucking bonkers. It seems like something like that's why I like this kind of stuff, because taking a chance on something like that, it's like how do you pitch that or like sell that? You couldn't do it like in today's world for sure, like the US market, something that batshit out of control.
Well, you could if I'm sitting across the table, because when you guys are talking about like, oh, manga and the backstory and the mythology, and I'm just falling asleep. But then when you're like, Hitler's his dad, fucked his mom, Jewish brother, like, I'm interested. Oh yeah, that sounds fucking insane.
Yeah,
Mussolini's his uncle, Hitler.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting that you bring up other historical figures, because the guy from the future that is his dad was like attaché to Stalin at some point.
Jesus.
Dan Marino should die of gonorrhea and rot in hell. Would you like a cookie, son?
With that said, so I don't think we've discussed, or did we? Yeah, Oscar and Ricky. Okay, yeah, they have their fight. One line too, like so Oscar commits. I fucked this up on Last Samurai too. It's either seppuku or harakiri, and he fucking disembowels himself.
Yeah,
and
sure does.
The Cyclops dude is like, "Hey, you got a lot of guts, Oscar." Like shit like that. It's
so
like
dumb.
I love that.
He tries to strangle him with his intestines.
Yeah.
Which,
and then he flips him into the air, and fucking we have like the precursor to the Mortal Kombat fucking X-ray move. Like he goes with the fist, and it like zooms in, and you get an X-ray shot of like fist skull.
I did like that part in particular, because it's pretty rare. I mean, you see a murder suicide from time to time, but you very rarely see a suicide murder in that
order. Like, yeah. Good point.
Which I respect, because I'm very petty, and I would definitely try to strangle somebody with my intestines.
Yeah.
Be like, fuck you.
That's awesome.
But yeah, a lot of Mortal Kombat in this. I would not be surprised if they drew inspiration.
They had to pull that directly. I don't know if this was like a common trope, or if this was like that was like their bullet time, like this X-ray move, and like Mortal Kombat, like those creators saw this and they're big fans. They're like, oh fuck.
Well, I will say M. Bison is based off of a character from Riki-Oh.
I saw that too, like one of the villains or something.
He's in the
Riki-Oh's,
second
like
OVA. He looks exactly like M. Bison.
Wow. Well, there you go. Aren't you a big Bison fan, or is that just the Raul Julia?
Bison.
Well, I'm a big Street Fighter the film fan.
Yeah.
But to me, it was a Tuesday.
So good.
We know how I feel about DJ, so.
Speaking of, this movie reminded me of several Van Damme movies. Bloodsport, based on the last scene with the glass powder in the eye. And another movie called In Hell.
Wow, cool.
There's another movie where he goes to prison, and it's called In Hell, where a lot of the same things happen, but I feel like probably prison movies are all pretty similar.
from the ones I've seen.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that one. Is that later Van Damme, or is that in his
I think it was like
time?
2003. Lawrence Taylor is also in it.
Like the football player,
Yeah.
LT?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Pretty
Damn.
fucking good.
Isn't there like a Steven Seagal movie with a rapper where they go to prison?
Exit Wounds?
Yes, DMX. Saw it in
That
theaters.
one ready to go.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I've never seen that. Is it good?
What do you think?
DMX plays a hacker.
That's all you need to know.
Yeah.
Sold. Yeah. Yeah. That's just like a men will see this and say, hell yeah. Done deal.
And for whatever reason, I just remember that like every other scene in that movie is Steven Seagal and DMX getting into a car, and then like that "I'm a Bang" song by DMX plays on the radio. It probably only happens once, but I feel like it happened like 10 times.
How many times them getting shot at, and he's like, "What?"
X
No, he's not like in that movie. He is not like, he's just like very subdued and looks like he doesn't want to fucking be there at all.
Huh? He probably didn't. All right, let's push this forward a little bit. Ricky, with his flautist ability, teaches Oscar's godson, who he takes a shine on, how to fucking blow harp on a leaf. I thought that was pretty slick.
Or he tries to, but the kid doesn't have a tongue.
That's when we find out he is Sans tongue.
Now this is pod racing.
So that's kind of, he bros down a little bit with this guy. What's his name? Alan. This is Alan. Fuck.
Yeah,
I really fucked that up.
Whatever you say.
So they have a little bonding sesh, even though he just watched him viciously murder his godfather. And then, so like the criminal element, the sides that are left over, I don't know if it's like west and south or whatever, catch wind of this. So in retaliation, they peel this motherfucker's skin off completely. So he's looking like just like a fucking dried up raisin. Thought that was pretty brutal. Don't they start with like his chin or like the whole like underside?
Yeah, Rogan like spins the knife and somehow cuts the guy's face off.
Yeah. And then they find him, and he's skinned head to toe.
This definitely harkened back to like Hellraiser. Got Hellraiser vibes.
Yeah.
Of Frank.
Yeah, and I don't know what they expected him to do, because none of them can.
Yeah.
Fucking, and they give him a knife and like, yeah, you take care of us. Like, what do you want him to do exactly? Like,
Yeah, good point. So this really fucking fires up Ricky, and he understands like the poppy plant. He sees the leaf and he puts it all together, and then they guide him. The other prisoners guide him to like where they're harvesting this poppy plant. He fucking burns that mother down for immediate revenge. And then this is where you have like a little skirmish with the remaining two captains, which I like this one when she does like some kind of punch and she's like, I just hit your dead spot. Soon you'll be a dead man. I was like, that was
that
cool.
dead spot we all have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to pay that back too later on, like in like
He gets over it pretty fast.
Yeah. I thought like, okay, this is going to be the ending. So he's got like, that's the ticking time bomb, and like he's going to save everyone, and then he's just going to fucking explode like gloriously.
Yeah.
That would have been
like
cool.
He pulls a Mark Wahlberg in Fear and just starts hitting his chest.
Just fucking.
Or also like M. Bison in Street Fighter when he's got the machine that.
Yep.
All roads lead back to Street Fighter.
That's the next one after Paxton now is Street Fighter.
Pretty much. I mean, that's the only fucking movie I've seen. You guys keep talking about all this. Never seen Fear. Never seen any of this shit.
Have you seen Mortal Kombat?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So you only watch things based on video games.
I only watch stuff that rules.
Touche.
Dude, that first Mortal Kombat was sick. That was like an event, man. I remember when that came out. I was so jacked to fucking go watch that in the theater.
Somehow better than the one that came out in like 2021.
I
don't know
by
what's
far.
possible.
By far. I honestly, after that too, I was like, dude, why didn't Robin Shou become a fucking star, dude? He was so fucking dope as Liu Kang, but I've heard later on that he's kind of been, he's like hard to work with, and
yeah, I don't know. He had a career in Hong Kong before that, and he can hang. I mean, his martial arts and stunt work is really good. I mean, he's hanging with Donnie Yen in one of those Tiger Cage movies. Yeah,
crazy. Yeah, I looked him up. I can't remember why. Maybe it was around the time of the Mortal Kombat reboot. I was getting nostalgic, and I was looking him up because he was also in fucking another one of my faves, Farley, Beverly Hills Ninja. He played his brother.
Yeah,
I'll save you, brother. He's fucking awesome, and that dude's just like the comedic, like just wearing everything for his brother. Yeah, that movie fucks. I don't care what anyone says. So what, Steve? What did you think of these machine guns with zero line of sight? It was like the smallest. It was like a 4-inch by 4 hole, and they were just indiscreet. It's like, what are we doing here? You can't even aim. Or I guess if you got fish in a barrel like that, maybe that's just the move.
Yeah,
that just jumped out to me like super comically. Like, what are they shooting at?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, disbelief was fully suspended by that point, so there wasn't any red penning going on. I was just kind of going along for the ride and enjoying it.
Yeah, 50 minutes into Riki-Oh, the story of Ricky, you're not like, that doesn't seem plausible.
Wait a second. Are we really? I mean, really, the only thing that took me out of it was the flashback. I don't know if we're going too far ahead. The flashback to the girlfriend suicide, where she's just fleeing these attackers and then just jumps right the fuck off the side of a building.
Yeah.
That was the only thing where, like, look, I saw this guy smuggle a 2x4 full of nails into prison. Don't need an explanation for that. Why the fuck would you just jump off the side of the building for no reason?
I like to think she didn't do it on purpose. I like to think it was like a Wile E. Coyote situation where he's running and runs off a cliff, and he kind of looks around and holds up the sign that says "Mother," and then just falls to his death.
God damn, it looked awfully purposeful.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that flashback too is how he gets the bullet, the lower of the bullets embedded in his chest. Yeah.
I mean, I contemplate jumping off a building anytime I'm even slightly inconvenient, so I get where she was coming from.
That's a good point.
Oh boy.
You know what? I'm about to say it. I don't care that you broke your elbow.
It's an oldie but a goodie.
It's a classic.
So, well, I mean, if it hadn't jumped the shark, then it's really coming on strong now with the flooding the cell with concrete. Like my mind, I was like, the logistics of that, like where's it coming from? How are they piping it in, etc. But so.
And yeah, and those are the things about the movie that actually did kind of annoy me. It's like we were saying earlier that like his power level is whatever they need it to be in the moment. Because for some reason he has string wrapped around him and they're like, oh, cool, string. That'll hold him. And it does. It does for like 5 minutes until he decides to break the string. And the same thing with the cement. They're like, that'll hold him, which surprisingly works. But then he just decides, no, this isn't going to work anymore.
Yeah, it's like he forgets and remembers, like indiscriminately, like that he can just do whatever he wants. And he's like, I'm kind of over this now.
Well, maybe if we're going to do a lot of gymnastics for the film, maybe it's because he's so young and he's just not experienced with all of his powers. And he's just like, oh shit, yeah, I forgot. Just flex all your muscles and you'll, the concrete will disintegrate. which I thought that shot was kind of cool. And they like plaster of Paris him up, and he's just like, so then we get the entrance of the warden, who has, like we've talked about, and we see the assistant warden the whole movie. They get word that the warden's coming back, and he comes back, and he's got his son is this pudgy, like baby Huey head ass little pudge ball. Did he remind you of anyone, Steve, from a movie I know you've seen? Baseball.
Oh yeah, the little shit baseball. The little shithead from A League of Their Own.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's immediately who I thought of. I can't remember his name. It was something like Merman or
I think it's Herman or something.
Yeah. I thought of him immediately when I saw this guy. The only thing he was missing was like one of those fucking like Tweedledee hats with the fucking spinner.
Yeah, and a little chocolate milk mustache, little shit.
Yeah. Don't say that. Don't you ever say that. Stay here as long as you can.
Who's Lou?
So yeah, we get the warden, his son. I think he just like kills a dude too, like upon his arrival back to the prison, like as he's going through like the checkpoint. And then so they interrogate Ricky while he's all cemented up. And that, however, we get a guy that we did see earlier. His name's Tarzan. Just a big old motherfucker. Busts through because he's just raring to get a shot at Ricky. I like the prison bar twist, like holding him in place. That looked pretty fucking sweet. Did you catch too when Ricky's getting beat up by this dude like 85 times? He's like, "You hit like a girl." So
yeah, like a little bitch.
This is another graphic part too, probably one of my favorite parts too, in terms of like gore and practical effects that they pulled off, was Ricky like blows this dude's like chin piece off, like mouth back.
He hits him with an uppercut, and his fist gets lodged in his bottom, in his lower jaw. So he just rips it off his fucking face. It's my favorite like kind of gore scene in the entire movie, and it looks really cool, but they don't know how to do it for a sustained period. The rest of it, he just has blood on his mouth. I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure he ripped his entire lower jaw off.
You can see his goatee still too. I was like, it's just like caked in blood.
Yeah, I thought the same thing when they flashed to it later. I was like, wait, what? I thought your entire bottom face was gone.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Like the first practical effect of that, it reminded me of like shit you've seen on like rotten.com, or like someone that like a botched suicide where they like put a shotgun underneath and there's this like, tongue hanging down. There's like one image I remember specifically of like a dude where it's like underneath like his nose maybe, and it's just his tongue. It's almost like a Cthulhu fucking octopus face monster.
This is real?
Yeah. I think I know the exact picture. Like I can even picture the chair. It's like a 70s like trailer chair. Yeah.
Dude's eyes are like wide open still. Like it's just like he would kill himself, and it just like shaved off the bottom third.
I'm a complete bitch when it comes to stuff like that. Like I've never been, I never had that edgy phase where I was like looking at that stuff on the internet. Dude, I couldn't even, I told Jim this earlier. I couldn't even listen to y'all's last podcast because I can't do like true crime serial killer stuff. Like it makes me like feel physically ill. It's like any like real gore or like stuff like that, I can't deal with it.
Oh man.
Yeah. I wasn't, he came ready with the crime scene photos, not to like, embellish that or call attention to it, but like I wasn't expecting that. So yeah, it's good you didn't guest on that episode, because those were explicit and unedited.
Jesus.
Except for that second picture when they covered her eyes over.
Yeah,
like,
they show these women like with their guts torn open, they're all fucked up, but they put like a tiny little block over their eyes.
Yeah. It's like But in Riki-Oh, I like to follow.
I can send them to you guys if you want.
Yeah.
So I like the immediate 1-2 follow up. So of the chin blast into like they show both fists like they're coming together, like they're gonna punch each other, and it's just fist on fist, and he mangles that other dude's like fingers fall off and shit. I thought that was a really cool effect.
Gore in the movie. It's just that fist on fist.
Yeah, that was fucking cool. It's like it harkens back to like you son of a bitch in Predator when Arnold and Carl Weathers come together for their fucking when they dap up, you know, it's like that, only fist on fist, and the other dude's fist like fucking that was cool as shit. Then inexplicably it kind of got a little Bondy, like Bond villain kind of territory here, because then we zoom out on this prison cell that Ricky's stuck in. Also has a hydraulic press built in to the top ceiling, just in case you ever need to squish a motherfucker as a last resort. Like, yeah, that's like his powers. It's like whatever serves the plot or where we're at in the movie, but pure cheese, but I still loved it. So yeah, they got him like mouse trapped in the cell, and Ricky, and this is another thing, like I noticed, like with the little underbosses that he's fighting, they have like a even though Oscar he tries to fuck him over, like there's this like little twist. They have like a little crisis of confidence, and they're like, yeah, fuck the warden, you know, and like Tarzan comes in and like helps him escape. You know, he holds up he like who you think should be dead as shit. Tarzan pops up and is like, no, Ricky, get out, you know, and fucking shoulders the press, and Ricky gets out. So, you know, you got to keep the thing going. But I thought that was, at least they were consistent about it. Like how he buddied up, like he was trying to save Alan from the cross and shit earlier. Like it wasn't like it came out of nowhere by this point.
Front rolls through the metal bars, by the way.
What's that?
He front rolls straight through the metal bars, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He gets out.
Escape. And I like to, like right before that too, the fat guy, Cyclops, he's like, oh, you're going to be a big pancake. Like just those like little one-liners are like, you hit like a girl, like these little side things that kept popping out. Just like, I eat that shit up like a pig in truffles. So then we get the warden. He's like, all right, fuck this guy. We're going to put him in a pit out in the yard and bury him up to his fucking head, or bury him underground for a week and see if he can live. And this, I think all of us are dog people, or at least pet people. This is kind of pretty fucked up. What kind of dog was this, by the way? I was thinking Cane Corso, or like one of those fucking crazy, like like a fucking Argentinian Mastiff, like one of those, or maybe it was like that super ugly fucking named, like the French Mastiff, the one that was in Turner and Hooch. It's got that fucking ugly fucking face. It's one of those big ass dogs.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of dog it is, but I am fairly certain it's the same dog from The Cat, because it is like an uncommon breed that you don't really see. I would wonder if it's just the director's dog. But I mean, I like animals, but that's probably my second favorite gore thing in the movie, because it comes out of fucking nowhere.
It does. I don't even know what the method was. It a flying?
He just gets kicked in half.
Yeah, it was like a ninja kick, half the dog apart, and then see another, like the villain is like kind of pulling for Ricky. Like she feeds him a hunk of this dog because he's buried underground for a week to like help him go on. It's like, do they just really want to fight him that bad? Or
I thought they were trying to suffocate him.
Oh, really?
That's what
I thought. It was to give him sustenance.
Well, yeah, because they plug the hole, but then it splits open. I don't know what the fuck is going on here.
I thought they killed why kill the dog then? What's the purpose of that?
JFF.
Well, yeah, I guess to suffocate him, but you know, I thought it was to like keep him going, like to feed him.
Yes.
Any hoodles. they wanted their shot at Ricky, you know, like they wanted to fight him. But could be wrong.
Maybe it's just a cultural thing and you're being insensitive right now.
Could be. So I think this is where we get, this is like after the flying crane slash to the dog, we get a flashback to how Ricky came to be in prison. His girlfriend commits suicide or is compelled to jump off a roof.
Or just doesn't look where she's fucking walking.
Yeah. It's a coin flip. And then I like the crime boss getting fucked up, like ankle, shin, slash in half. That was dope.
Yep.
Yeah, some of like the appendage, like even earlier when Ricky gets like when Oscar has that dope ass knife and he cuts the ligament tie, that was a pretty cool fucking effect. That fucking like avulsion hunk out of his forearm, that looked pretty fucking sweet. Yeah, there's like a lot of like joint, like tendon or like knee elbow trauma that looks pretty sweet in this. So they got Ricky, they have him in this like crazy ass contraption. I guess at this point you really got to fucking get creative to try to keep this guy in one spot. So they have him like tucked into like 90 pieces of rebar that are all bent. Like,
I mean, you could just kill the guy because when he's like, we're gonna bury you underground after 7 days. If you're alive, we're gonna let you free. Like, well, obviously you're not going to do that. So if he survives, just go ahead and kill him. So yeah, they put him in the like bent pipe structure. Like, well, this could only go one way.
Well, they already hit him in his death spot. I mean, I feel like you're kind of out of options after that.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the half-life on the death spot?
Well, you could do my favorite part of the whole thing, which is fill his mouth with razor blades and just beat the shit out of him.
Dude, yeah. I was getting to that. I wanted to also sell how like he gets beat with that fucking spud wrench like 37 times. But yeah, the obvious and the dopest part is when, that stack of fucking razor blades to the mouth taped over and then like side fucking judo chop to the face, like right where they would. Oh, dude. That's awesome. That's like revenge porn. Like if you were to like torture someone, that would be a dope torture method. Like it's got to be up there with like in Casino when they put his head in a vice and pop his eyes out. That's what I was thinking anyhow.
Or the one man, one jar treatment.
God, don't remind me. I still try and look for that like every like 6 months, like the reaction to the one guy, one jar. The reaction.
Mama said Pekka.
Dude, the reaction is so fucking funny. In his ass. This don't make no damn sense.
You know this don't make no damn sense.
Mama just called it a pecker. I don't even know where I was. Oh, yeah. Torture methods for future revenge. Yeah, so that was pretty rad, but it's only one-upped by when the warden takes the tape off and he fucking spits back a stack of the fucking...
Yeah.
That was cool. And he's just got like 9 of them, the warden embedded in his face. That was pretty slick. I liked that effect. Even for how cheese it sounds, I feel like where we're at in the movie and like how they pulled it off like on film was pretty cool.
It was consistent. Yeah.
Yeah. If nothing else, this movie is consistent. We can say that. Then that one dude that's kind of a lackey from the beginning that somehow stuck around the whole movie, the goatee, he gets his head punched perfectly in half like a jawbreaker if it like went through like a laser cutting machine.
It's a good one.
Like, I was like, dude, how do you? It's like it's like on a plane, like perfectly flat. Top half comes off, and then Cyclops becomes a fucking what is that? A no-clops? Takes his other eye. Inmates riot. They fuck up Cyclops. Oh yeah, but the warden takes him out. What is this gun, by the way, too? Is it like a trick?
Yeah, I wanted to bring this up because in the Phantasm 2 episode, when we were talking about people always having like weird guns and shit, or maybe it's Brotherhood of the Wolf because he has like a custom gun in that. I brought up in Hard Boiled, there's a bad guy that has a breakaway single shot pistol. That's a Hong Kong movie. This is a Hong Kong movie. And it is the same gun that's used in Hard Boiled. It is a Thompson Center Arms Contender. So I don't know why this gun is so popular in Hong Kong movies, but there you go.
Interesting.
Thompson Arms Contender.
Thompson Center Arms Contender.
Dude, that just sounds cool as shit.
But yeah, why it blows people up.
I guess it had like gas expanding bullets. I don't really know.
Well, by the time we get here, you know, it fits right in. I like it. I thought it was rad that they don't.
Didn't they have something similar in which Bond movie is it? Live and Let Die. So they kill Yaphet Kotto. Am I remembering that right?
I haven't seen a lot of the old ones. I don't think I've even seen that.
It's been a long time since I've seen that. I mostly just remember the guy with a claw hand, which brings it full circle to Riki-Oh.
Damn, yeah, it does have that too. It does. I think so. I get those Roger Moore ones mixed up, but they definitely have something. I don't know if it's a gun. I think it's a gun, and it does something similar where it blows things up. And yeah, I think that's how they kill Yaphet Kotto in the end.
That's dope. Yeah, I don't think I've seen that one. I'm a big
spoilers. They blow up Yaphet Kotto.
I am a big Yaphet Kotto fan, so yeah, I'll have to incorporate that one. The effect I thought was pretty cool too. It expands, and so he's already a big fat guy, and then it just like plays that up to 11, and he expands like the fucking the blueberry girl in Willy Wonka before exploding. Yeah, at first I was like, is that the Craig Kilborn explosion? But no, that's with Tarzan. Which is the head clap.
Yeah, I have to say the Warden's transformation is the worst effects. Like, not the transformation itself, but his suit, because it's like not tight on him at all. So the skin is just like flapping. It's really bad looking.
It does get pretty rough towards the end, especially too, like the snot coming out, and like when they zoom out, it kind of is sagging on the dude who's wearing it a little bit.
Yeah. I had signed off on a lot of dumb shit in this entire movie, but when the Warden starts to get big, I was like, this is... I cannot abide.
It's the worst effect. Yeah, it's the worst effect in the movie.
It's so bad.
It kept like automatically. I was like, it looks like fucking Heihachi from Tekken.
Yeah,
like exactly. So yeah,
I think I might have missed it. I could have just missed the explanation, but I was watching it like
there is none.
Oh, okay. All right. So I didn't miss
the only reason I understood it, I looked online after, and I guess it's like how they plant that seed earlier, where he's like, "Oh, I need my medication." Like he has a little, he has a little flare up.
Yeah, but it doesn't explain why or how or
and it's also not medicine; it's just candy.
It is. It's like Jelly Bellies.
Fucking Pez.
I need to take my don't turn into a giant fucking guy medicine real quick.
Yeah.
Me my anti-Heihachi pills. And then we finally get there's some wild shit we're glossing over here, but the gal captain, she's got some like weird weapon, but her leg goes into a fucking like, I don't know what this was supposed to be, like
liquid nitrogen tank
or something. It freezes
it,
right?
Yeah. They could have done something cooler with that, like make it look like better, but I'm sure they're probably stretched on that kind of effect. But it still looks pretty cool because he fucking punches her leg off, lops it off with his bare hands, which is pretty cool.
Because he couldn't have done that without that. He couldn't.
Yeah, without the zero impact that the liquid nitrogen did on the leg. Like now you would think like, oh, that'd be cool, like Sub-Zero, like touching someone's arm and like freezing it, breaking it. Like that would have been cool if they could have replicated that. But limitations being what they are.
Well, there was one point where he punched the assistant warden, and I thought he was just going to like take his head off, but it just looked like a normal punch. It's like, wait, what happened?
Just his eye popped out.
Yeah.
Instead of his entire head exploding.
They had to bring that gag back because he was already eyeless. And I wonder if Kill Bill drew any inspiration from that when Daryl Hannah gets her second eye.
I always get such satisfaction out of that.
Taking inspiration from other movies?
No.
No. Especially not ones from East Asia. That would never happen.
The 5-point
Rolo Tomasi.
Sorry. The 5-finger, what is it? Death punch?
5-point palm exploding heart technique.
Palm. That's right.
Or something like that.
Yeah, I still wish they would have paid off that death thing.
They did though. Spot. Like he was going to die and then he beat himself back to life.
Yeah. He just decided not to die.
Yeah.
All right.
He just flexed the fuck out of it.
Yeah.
I still wish he would have done something. Incorporated the bullets embedded.
He looked at the runtime and was like, there's still 30 minutes left, bitch. I can't die.
Yeah, so that's basically it. He frees the prisoners and punches a hole 85 times the size of his body out of the prison. I thought the end credits music was pretty sick. Pretty dope. I guess this is the first time we've done this. Steve, we usually do it right up top. Maybe we can make it a tradition. What is the verdict? What did you think of this film?
I did like it. Yeah.
Whoa. Nice.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that.
Did not see that one coming.
I enjoyed all the gratuitous violence. You know, I'm a sucker for all that.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know if it was going to be enough in this case. Like, I didn't know how much. The only other reference point being your hatred of verses, and that's like the closest like cognate I had for this kind of thing too, because I'm pretty novice when it comes to these kinds of films.
The brutality carried the day for sure.
Put it on a t-shirt. So let's see real quick. What's that do to our overall approval rate? Gonna improve it a scotch. So that brings us up from an 87.1 to an 87.3. 62-9 we're sitting at. Cool. Well, thanks for suggesting it, Chris.
Oh man.
My arc on this show could have been completely different if you would have let me suggest a movie that I knew Steve would like from the beginning.
We can call it like a half sack situation. Can share in the victory. Did we gloss anything over that any of you guys wanted to talk about this film? Favorite parts or quotes or anything?
The final meat grinder scene is pretty great.
Yeah, and bringing back the head, hoisting it up. You're free.
Yeah, somehow the ground meat was the grossest thing in the movie to me. I don't know why. It's just
slurry. Ugh.
Like redder than red.
Yeah, part of the trivia too. I don't know if I'm stepping on anybody, but I guess that scene with all the blood, all the shit ton of blood, I don't know what the fuck they were using, but it stained that dude for like 3 or 4 days. Like he couldn't get it the fuck off of him. So that's pretty metal. Just walking around, just getting a pack of smokes in the morning. Like, hey man. Oh fuck. Did either of you have any trivia or anything else? I got a couple things, but give you guys the floor first.
Not about this movie, not specifically. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't have any trivia. I'd seen the main actor in 3 other movies. He's in Righting Wrongs. I think it's 6 or 7 years before this movie. He's a teenager in that movie. I think that's one of his first movies. I see him in that. He's in the Ip Man movies with Donnie Yen. He's in 1 and 2. But yeah. Other than that,
that's pretty rad.
Yeah. But other than that, no trivia that I could come up with.
There is an unofficial sequel to this movie.
I saw that.
I've never seen it, but I've heard it's dog shit.
Yeah, it kind of makes me think of like I'm fresh off of rewatching Roadhouse. I guess they did a fucking like unofficial Roadhouse sequel like before this newest Jake Gyllenhaal reboot that also looks like trash, but they cast Jonathan Sheck, Steve, who you'll know as Jimmy, the fucking guitar player from That Thing You Do.
The Herdsman, that guy?
Yeah, I keep coming. Yeah, the Chord Vets. Yeah, he was like the Swayze tough in Roadhouse 2.
I don't buy it.
No, not at all. I don't buy that brand. So when I got a couple things real quick. When Ricky chops an inmate's head in half, a pig's brain was used in the connecting shot of the severed skull cap, which is pretty fucking metal. Excuse me. Bear with me. Although it's never explained in the film, the manga reveals how Assistant Warden Dan, Cyclops Dan, got his glass eye and hook hand via flashback sequence when, during a prison riot, several prisoners ganged up on Dan and stabbed him in his right eye and sliced off his right hand as retribution for his horrible mistreatment of said prisoners. This scene was not included in the film and was instead replaced with a new similar scene taking place in the film's current events, where he is instead stabbed in the side of his neck with a glass bottle, with his left hand being sliced off instead of his right hand. So,
what's that quote from Die Hard 2? How can the same thing happen to the same guy twice?
Well, you can't take off this jerk in hand with all that wall of porn.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Jesus. Kick a man while he's down. I thought this one was fun too because I'm fresh off of rewatching Shaun of the Dead. English filmmaker Edgar Wright once listed the story of Ricky at the top of a handwritten list of his favorite movies, even above the number 1 slot, with a note calling out that this movie is above ranking, which is fucking, that's pretty high praise, man.
Dumb. That's
above
dumb.
ranking.
Dumb.
Is that, did we just take a hard right on the pretentiousness turnpike for you, Steve?
Well, I mean, I don't think any of you would put this above number 1 all time. I mean, it's good, enjoyable, but come on.
I'm in a meeting, you swine.
Although Riki-Oh is 21 years old in the manga, I'm going to fuck this name up. Si Wong Fan was only 18 when he portrayed the title character. Dude, he's pretty fucking ripped up for 18, dude. Like, some of his like shots of him like flexing like his back and like his fucking, he's ripped up, man.
Yeah, I thought he was like 34.
Yeah, I would have thought so too.
I mean, I am pulling this wholesale with no background verification off of IMDb, so this could be
that's probably accurate because that Righting Wrongs movie, he's a kid in that movie, and that's only like I think 6 years before this or 7 years. So yeah, it checks out.
Yeah, he's just a fucking freak of nature. I thought this one was just fucking weird, wild. So Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore, Maryland, retains this film in its medical reference library for anatomical study due to its extreme graphic content.
That's got to be bullshit.
Chris just added Johns Hopkins University to his fucking.
Hold on, where was this? Say that again.
Johns Hopkins University, Baltimore, MD.
Ruth's Chris.
You don't know how magnificent U.S. prime beef can be till you've been to Ruth's Chris Steakhouse.
There's nothing accurate about the...
Yeah. And as a university, they have access to real cadavers.
Right. I think what they're getting at, like as at the reference library, I was thinking like for, feathering someone in, like for shock value, not for like, obviously, come on, not like, oh, medically, this is where the fucking ulna detaches from the fucking,
If your doctor mentions your death spot, you know where he went to school.
This guy clearly died by being punched in the stomach to death. I can prove it.
Oh, fuck. That's good. Yeah, the shelf behind the assistant warden's office is filled with pornography films. So much fake blood was used in the meat grinder finale that Si Wong Fan could not wash the red off of his skin for 3 days. I already said that. That sucks.
Miss Lippy's car is green.
Nice pull. This is the last piece I have. This one I thought was the most hardcore. So one scene required Si Wong Fan, who played Ricky, and Yukari Oshima, I don't know who that was, to exchange lines while standing close to a raging fire. Si Wong, doused with water for protection, was horrified when he noticed Oshima's exposed neck literally smoking and blistering from the heat.
God.
When he asked her, so it must have been the chick, captain. When he asked her why she didn't move, she reportedly replied, "You weren't done with your lines, so I had to wait for the cut." Amazed by her professionalism, he referred to her in future interviews as Amazing Yukari.
That's hardcore.
That's
hardcore.
committing to the fucking bit.
Not a very creative nickname, though.
Yeah. Amazing Yukari.
Hong Kong in the 70s through the 90s, man, they were a different breed, man. Some of the stunts and stuff they do, like they're committed.
I'm still just laughing about how good Chris is at being passive aggressive with your dog shit trivia. whatever dumbass thing you said with the Miss
John Hopkins
green.
Hey, I'm from the Midwest, man. It's an art form, being passive aggressive.
It's got a doctorate.
Raise the flag.
From Johns Hopkins.
That would hit me deep.
Yeah, good shit. I was trying to come up with a game, and I didn't have time. And then I created a game, and it was like, I looked at it and it was super stupid. So I was like, we're not doing that. I was like, that's a terrible idea. So that has been Riki-Oh, the story of Ricky. I guess wait, is this the sequel and there's a prequel, or is there a sequel?
Wait.
There's one before. It's got to be Yerbal. No, there is one because it's like Riki-Oh : something else.
Well, yeah, one of the OVAs takes place before this. One of them is exactly this movie, and then the unofficial sequel, I don't think follows the story at all. I think they're just put the same actor in a movie and made him a guy that punches people.
Fair enough.
Suck brick, kid!
So yeah, that's been Riki-Oh 91. If you made it through, you're a saint. And if you did want to watch it, it's on the Criterion channel. It's also on archive.org. That's how I watched it. Which I did I was looking through archive.org, and I know this is fucking well-trod territory, but for me, like, I was like, dude, there's a lot of shit on there. I actually found a fucking, because I've been wanting to cover To Live and Die in LA for a while now, ever since, especially watching Manhunter, the William Peterson Effect. That is fucking not streaming anywhere. I don't know if it's out of print. It's like on eBay, probably for too much money, but I found a link on archive.org, the full feature. So maybe that'll be one that we check out in the future too. But yeah, archive.org's got a lot of rare gems on there to unearth.
Best site on the internet.
Yeah, it's pretty rad. So looking forward to next week. I'm indecisive as per usual, so I don't know what the fuck we'll be covering. It'll be something. Have either of you guys ever seen a film called Return to Paradise with Joaquin Phoenix and Vince Vaughn and Heche from 1998?
I have not, no.
Nope.
I think we talked about it a couple times, Steve, about like Joaquin Phoenix gets popped for hash and his buddies have to come back and are willing to serve time for him to not die. But they have to serve like 8 years in a like fucked up like Thailand prison. I'm thinking I'm itching towards that, so we'll see. I'll try to update the socials in advance, so if you want to watch before you tune in. If you want to reach out to us, you can do so at waxingtheporpoise.com. That's our email. Instagram is at waxingtheporpoise. Twitter, X is at waxingtheporp. I apologize. I did it fucking again. I didn't even introduce you right, Chris. Can you plug, or would you like to plug Mount Molehill?
Yeah, it's a podcast that I do. Check it out wherever you listen to podcasts, and I am on Instagram at Mount Molehill Podcast.
It's really good. Listen to it.
Thank you.
Yeah, raise the fucking flag.
Raise the flag. Raise the flag.
Miles, do you have anything? Any other guest spots on anything you have coming up or you want to promote in general?
I don't create any. Actually, you can find me at my podcast. It's the Joe Rogan Experience. If you've heard of it. No, I don't have anything to plug.
Rogan, the person from this movie? The Gang of Four?
Yeah, he's got his own podcast. No, I don't have anything to plug. I keep saying I'm going to make my own podcast, but it's still TBA.
Right on. Well, when you do, we'll have you back. We'll promote it.
But we'll just to reiterate, both these guys fucking rule. And when I heard when they were both coming on, I just kept thinking of that Tupac song where he's like, "We got two of America's most dangerous motherfuckers in the same motherfucking place at the same motherfucking time."
Hell yeah!
You guys rule.
Yep.
Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Fucking A. Cool. Well, thanks for joining us, and we will see you when we see you, and we will see you later.
Right, listen up, you asshole. First, eat shit.